What up, y'all? The Jeff Wilson. Say on Jeff Does What. As you look down, you see Elegoo. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Me, it's always been 3D printers, because I know that's what I've always followed them on. And they reached out to me and like, hey Jeff, do you know we make laser engravers? I had no idea. And so they decided to ship me one on over so we can unbox it for y'all and let y'all see how well this thing is and how well everything else compares to what they normally do. Like I said, because I'm a fan of their 3D printers, and hopefully they're just as good as this laser engraver is just as good as them. But we'll get to unboxing this and see how well everything is. As we get to unboxing this, we do have some filters, which I wasn't expecting. Filter cartridge. And lots of other parts. I want to get these all out, lay them out, and then you can see what all we actually have here. Now, as we got everything out here on the table, there is a lot of parts to this. So this machine is fully tore apart, where we are going to put everything together on here. And there's a lot of parts here. But like I said, for the most part, everything looks well labeled, easy to do. I mean, it's, heck, we've put together tons of these lasers on this channel. Now, as I unboxed everything, it did come with a nice heavy duty honeycomb. This thing, it has some weight to it. And we also have a roller as well. And of course, there's our laser unit right here. This thing, it's got some weight to it as well. Like it is pretty beefy, especially for a 20-watt diode. Like I said, it's got some weight to it. And we got our air pump. So let's get this thing all put together. Now for our first step, what we're going to do, we're going to take our side rails and slide them into the back. Like I said, they got these little channels. Everything slides in fairly easy. And we're going to come over here to our packet of screws, and we're going to screw these all together. Also, with these screws, there are top and bottom screws you do have to install. Like I said, there's real simple. Like I said, everything lines up real easy. All I'm doing is loosely putting these in here, and once I have everything in here, I will go through and snug them all down where they're nice and tight. After we have our frame all together, the next thing to do is to attach our feet on here. Like I said, not the biggest fan on how they're attaching these, but once they're attached, they're good, because you can't, with regular Allen keys, you can't just get a good tight fit on there. And also trying to get this screw in that hole at the bottom down there, it's not fun. Let me get these other 3 feet on there and continue on. Now, as we continue on, it's time for us to get this lined up. And get these screwed all in. Now, as you're putting this together, down here, there is a slot so you can screw in these bottom bolts as well. You'll just line it up that way, and to get them screwed in that way, this is nice and secure. Next thing we're gonna do, we gotta get this rail installed so we can connect it to the little motor and connected to the belt on this side, which will easily connect right there. Once you have it in place, you'll just tighten these down with some Allen keys. Now, after we struggled a little bit with that, getting that belt on there, my belt ended up twisted somehow, so I had to take a lot of that back apart to get my belt out. But it's just something that happens from sometimes when you have to put these together. It was a real simple fix. It took me probably an extra 5 minutes once I figured out what the issue was. But now we're going to take this orange piece right here of acrylic and we're going to screw it in right there. Now, while we still have this thing upside down, I'm going to go on and run my cables and get everything plugged in. That way we don't have to turn this back upside down again. Also, at this point, we're going to plug in our laser and get it all secured as well. It has one plug right there. And it'll just slide in the little V-groove track right there once you have your Allen key, or not the thread keys, whatever they're called, thumb nuts loose. And just so y'all can see before I flip it over, that's how we're going to set our depth. I like that it's built on. Makes it a lot easier and I don't have to worry about losing it. And while we still have it flipped over, don't forget to run your air line. That way it's all good to go. I'm not the biggest fan of how they have this, because that is not going to work too well. I'm going to have to go buy me a 90 air fitting, because when I get this into place, it puts a bad kink into it, which will restrict airflow. You can play with it some and get a lot of it out, but I'll end up changing that out to a 90 just to feel safer about that. Now for this next part, this has an air filter that we are going to install. Now we have it standing up right now. Is going to go into there, and you got 2 screws right underneath here that you'll end up screwing down to it, and which will be real nice to help clean up some of the air with an open gantry system, because most open gantries do not have anything like this to help clean your air. That way you're not constantly breathing in whatever smoke that your diode laser is producing. So this is pretty big for an open gantry laser. Like I said, I haven't seen this on any other open gantry. Like I said, most of them, they're fully enclosed units. And hopefully this works out real well, because the way they got everything closed off as far as the diode itself, this should be pretty nice as long as that fan works for good. And like I said, it is a pretty beefy little fan. Now the last few steps we have another piece of safety acrylic to slide on here, pop into place. Now this is held in with magnets to make it easy to remove. And then we got a few little pieces to install on our corners to cover all that up to give this unit a nice, clean, finished look. And like I said, these are just held on by some 3N double-sided tape. And make sure you have that in the correct spot as you're doing this, because if you're not familiar with this tape, a lot of times once it's down, it is down. And we have this unit all together. Now, before we really jump off into this, I want to show you this little feature. So we got a nice little cover. We got, it appears to be a 3-stage filter. So we got that. I hear some charcoal in there, and we got that on the other side. So this right here should help cut down on some of the fumes that are coming off through your laser. And the way they have this all enclosed in there, because that smoke's going to rise. It has a fan built in right over here, so it's going to pull whatever it is doing right up through that, and essentially putting not fresh air but fresher air out into your shop. Which, if you're doing this in a home or an enclosed area, definitely will help out. There's been many times out here in the shop where I have smoked this place out trying to do some, especially some of the cutting on like some 1/2-inch wood or something like that. It produces so much smoke, it, like I said, and then you have a whole layer of smoke just throughout the whole shop, which isn't healthy for you. And this right here, if this works as it should, will definitely help out. Like I said, I like that it appears to be a 3-stage. Now, once I actually tear into one or something, I can know a little bit more about it, but let's start doing some engraving. So as we start to dive into this, I do want to show you, well, we have no files on here right now, but it is touch screen, where we can sit there and move whatever we want on here. If we want to set an origin, we got different percentages for something. Yep. So see, it's just showing a 10%. So it is letting you test out what you're doing before you even go to work on it. So we got our Wi-Fi, we got our tilt sensors, we got our fire sensors, and of course we got the different languages. Let's start running some engraving. So to start things off, this first engraving we're going to be doing, it is going to be our owl that I like to use. Get some safety glasses on just before I know how much this is going to show through that orange safety acrylic. But once we have everything lined up, and all we're going to do is hit start and let this thing go to work. Now, as this is running, this does have quite a bit of airflow coming through there. And I wanted to make sure that is working good. And so far, I'm not seeing a lot of smoke. Granted, we're just doing a basic engraving on here, so it doesn't produce just a whole lot of smoke on there, especially with this design. Now, as you see, the orange safety glass isn't really covering up the laser a whole lot. It's more there for the smoke to go up in there, and so you can still somewhat see what is going on. It does somewhat hide a lot on filming for this video, but we're gonna let it do its thing and come back to see how everything looks. So, as expected, it engraved great, but let's put this filter to the test. I'm going to start off hard with it, and let's do some acrylic cutouts. All right, so what I have on here, I got some of that great carve two-color acrylic where we got the black on top, we got the gold and yellow underneath, and I'm doing a handful of little, I guess, little coin top deals, and we can really see how well this filters out, because this acrylic smells, especially when you are engraving or cutting on it, and it does produce quite a bit of smoke whenever you are actually cutting the engraving, a little bit. But let's see how well this works out, and we'll check out this engraving and see how well it does on this acrylic. So right offhand, as it's been running just a few minutes, there is a noticeable difference between the amount of smoke in there and the smell. Like, there, you still smell that acrylic smell, which you do not want to smell. We do have our bay doors open and fans pushing this outside, because you do not want to breathe the chemicals that are produced from the acrylic. Now, how much is this filtering out? I can't tell you for sure, but I can tell you it is a noticeable difference compared to some of the others we have used this acrylic on, like our last video where we used some on the X24, or even the, well, Creality, the Pro. When we used this great car, we had the exhaust outside, so we didn't notice it at all on that one. But there is a noticeable difference on this unit compared to some of the others I have done in the past. Now, how much it's filtering out, I couldn't tell you. I don't have any of the equipment to sit here and gauge to see what it is actually doing. But we're going to let this keep on going. I'm doing a full sheet of these. And if you comment below, I might just end up sending you one of these. Like I said, I got a full sheet of them I'm cutting out, and all you gotta do is comment below and I'll mail you one. Well, I do have to say there is a huge difference on how the shop smells. I went next door to my house for about 40 minutes while this ran, and came back over here, and I can barely smell the acrylic smell. And normally that smell is extremely strong. But let's see how this came out. Good cuts. Clean engraving. Definitely like the outcome of this. Now, if you're wanting these, make sure to put hashtag Elegoo in the comments, and I'll message you for your address and get you one of these over. So on this next test, I want to see how much smoke I can actually make. And by doing that, I got some 10mm bamboo that I've randomly cut stuff out on. It messed up on me before on something, so figure out why not. This is something good that I'm not worried about, that we can just burn up and see how well it turns out. Let's get this loaded on and see how much smoke we can make and how much that allows out into the shop. All right, so we got everything running, and all we're trying to do is see how much smoke we can produce with this, and see how much this actually stops as far as letting the smoke out into the shop. Like I said, I have this running at 100% at 2, the speed at 2 on this 10mm bamboo, just to see how much smoke it produces and to see what all we accomplish with this filter and how well it cuts out this 10mm bamboo. Are still getting some smoke, Not as much though. And like I said, what I'm seeing, I don't know if the camera's picking up, it is very faint. But that filter isn't stopping all of it, but it is calming it down a whole lot. Because you see how much smoke it is producing down there now? And I'm not getting that much out into the shop. As you can see, the fan is sucking a lot of that back up into it. So, as that goes, definitely helping out. Is it stopping at 100%? No, as you can see right there, it is coming out of on the outside, but not as bad as it normally would. And a lot of this, it's stuck underneath this honeycomb, and so as it's trying to find its way out from underneath there, it's no longer underneath this, causing smoke to get out. But as you see, a lot of it is being sucked right back underneath. Now with this, we didn't get all the way through on there, but my main goal was just seeing how much smoke I could get out of it. And it went most of the way through. It started coming through in a few spots. If I would have did 2 passes, or if I would have done like I normally would, run this at a little higher speed with 3 or 4 passes, that way it cuts down on the smoke, it probably would have went through no problem. But all I was trying to do was see how much smoke I can produce off this. And 1 pass on bamboo, and it coming through in a few spots, it would have made it through no problem on that 2nd pass. I probably would have turned the power down to 3 lighter passes to cut down on the smoke, but I really wanted to get this and to see if I could get that haze throughout the whole shop like I normally do. And to tell you, I do not have that. A little smoke did get in, but probably this took care of, I'm guessing, probably 80% of what came through. And let's see if we can, I mean, you can see it is doing its job. Side note, as I was moving some stuff around, I realized I only had my air pressure at 20%. So if I would have had my air pressure cranked up to 100, it probably would have pushed through that no issue. That was all on me there. I'm used to being able to set the settings how I want in the computer. And this right here, it has a little knob on the inline air pump. So something to think of. Like I said, it probably would have burned all the way through if it was fact I had that air cranked up, which I didn't. So it's causing that debris to stay off in there. So, but that's not what I was trying to do anyway. I was just trying to see how much smoke I could produce. Now, my thoughts on this laser, it is a great laser. And looking at it, it is one of the best looking open gantry lasers to look at. Like I said, I like the nice rounded corners on here. I like the plexiglass they have up here just to help pull in the smoke. I like the fact it came with a honeycomb. And this filter, like I said, it doesn't stop everything. It is not an end-all be-all. I do still recommend a fully enclosed unit, but if I was just doing light engraving, I would have no issues running this in my house. Granted, I started out doing this out of my house, and it was a nightmare. My house smelled awful all the time, and with this, I'd be okay with it. Knowing what small stuff I would run on here is a big part of it. Would I do a lot of cutting on it? No. If I was in the house, no. Out here like this, I wouldn't have an issue with it. You can definitely tell they took some time on designing this and working out the engineering of this compared to what you would normally see on most open gantry lasers. There's a few small things I would change on there. I'd like to see something better with the air hose on there. I just don't like the way that is, but I think I might drill a little hole down here on the side to run it out the side and help eliminate some of the kinks I have on there. Just something easy, an easy fix for me on what I think would work. That way it has a place for this air hose to slide in and out and stay away from the honeycomb. Because right now, the way it is, it does drag the honeycomb and will drag across pieces that you are working on if you're not careful with it. But over the next few weeks, I am going to put this through some more tests just here in my shop just to see how well it does. I'll probably make a few little shorts about it. And if you want to see them or more with this, hit that subscribe button. It definitely helps me out. We just hit 10,000 subscribers here on the channel here a few weeks ago. Thank every one of y'all who have subscribed or has watched this channel, liked anything. And if you really like it, hit that super thanks. It's what helps cover the cost in this, because buying a lot of these lasers does get expensive. Now, I got lucky with this. Elegoo just sent this on over for me to test it out for the channel to see how well I like it. And like I said, I love the concept of it. And I know once I get down, start doing engraving and actual cutting on there, it's going to have no issue. These 20-watt lasers anymore, they are beast. I mean, 20 watts is my preferred wattage on diodes. It's not too big to lose a lot of definition, and it's not too small where it's not going to cut right. So you get the best of both worlds while you're engraving or cutting. Now, if you are interested in one of these, I do have an affiliate link down below. That is another way how I make money for the channel, is through affiliate links. They didn't pay me to make this video. They did send me the laser to make it, but I did not get any money from them to make this. Now, like I said, if you want to help me out, like I said, click that link down below, pick you up one, and until next time, y'all take it easy.